Social expanded participatory production in transmedia environment, exploring transmedia experience through a serious alternative reality game narrative. This research introduced a social participatory transmedia production model in which users explore multiple contents through serious AR narrative. This approach is based on convergence culture, transmedia storytelling, and participatory culture practice. We studied transmedia narrative and interactivity, and we divided four elements of transmedia experience. As investigating transmedia projects, we also proposed Wishshop as a social participation production of a serious AR narrative in South Korea. First, we know what transmedia is. Henry Jenkins told transmedia storytelling as story which unfolds across multiple media platforms with each new test making a distinctive and valuable contribution to the whole. Transmedia storytelling shows the changes in digital technology. Transmedia immerses its audience in a story world through diverse platforms, providing a comprehensive experience of exploring a complex story. So transmedia is a fancy word for a simple concept, telling stories across multiple platforms. In this sense, participation and enjoyment of the content are more important than ever in transmedia environment. We know convergence culture and transmedia storytelling to understand the user's experience in transmedia environment. The user's experience in transmedia environment enhance the understanding of the entire story and involvement of the various additional stories of the original show. The important point is story world to explore core narratives. Users' collective actions can fill in the gaps. Alternative reality games are one of the most advanced forms of transmedia storytelling currently available. The interactive fiction generated by ARG, which involve a group of people in the construction of a fiction or mixed reality where players online interact with players offline, is a good example of these inclusive strategies. The user's participation in transmedia is also important. There have been effective changes in the levels of user desire for increased participation. 42 Entertainment defines the levels of interaction as casual, active, and enthusiast. Jenkins sees ARG as a form of collective intelligence. Dana told one of the main attractions in transmedia productions lies in their ability to transport the players to a fictional world superimposed on the reality of everyday life. Role offers define for invitation to play, participate, the spectatorship, refuge. What is transmedia production? Transmedia productions showed a participatory culture as media convergence, which expands to other platforms with the development of technology in the transmedia environment. Transmedia storytelling comes from metrics and also adjusts to the other productions like Transformers, Dexter, The Lost, Mission Impossible, and Avatar. The types of transmedia can be thought of narrative space and media platform. The narrative space covered by location, character, time. The number and narrative timing of the platform is sequential, parallel, simultaneous, non-linear. Franchise Transmedia Project is a series of single platform deliverables, a book, a movie, a game. Portmanteau Transmedia Project, by contrast, might look like an alternative reality game, which will often cover a single narrative space across multiple platforms. In franchise transmedia case, multiple platforms create a collection of individual experience. Franchise-made content for movies, TV series. Fan participation strengthens of the user agency. Oriented traditional media is difficult to convert to the new media form without specific modifications. The other features are limited participation on the core story, active understanding, for the complex story, lack of adequate user interaction. By contrast, in portmanteau transmedia, multiple platforms contribute a single experience. Portmanteau transmedia is comprehensive content. As participatory media, ARG live event is main resources. The story expands for social participation. The story is completed by audience participation. Previous transmedia production has many limitations because different tiers of participants have different experience and stories when they interact, and the content undergoes less change. Portmanteau transmedia applies to users' participation and expands for social change. Transmedia projects that have layer levels use transmedia narratives that are affected by player-created resources and producer-created resources. We construct the narratives in which player-created and producer-created resources interact with the transmedia project. We define the levels of interaction in the transmedia production model as follows: bystander, explorer, and activist. Activists serve to create the project through participation, created content, and giving active feedback. We discussed 4 elements of transmedia experience. These are story world, character, space, and social communication. First world is created in which users can experience transmedia in the boundaries between fiction and reality. The idea of world building, an important concept of transmedia storytelling. Building the story world with layers can expand the features of the experience for users through the various media platforms. Second, the characters represent the key elements of fictional universe based on multiple platforms. The characters are familiar to help the audience within the narrative. Third, spaces are connected online and offline in the transmedia. Transmedia become communicational hybrid space that arise from the interaction between multiple participants. Participants in the online space and in the physical environment engaged in transmedia experience through participation and cooperation. Fourth, while transmedia interaction takes in the form of social communication between characters and customers, the world gives feedback. The transmedia experience, which involves multiple instances of participation, comes from the Convergence culture through direct involvement and extensive experience. So we studied 4 cases in transmedia projects: Conspiracy for Good, Bluebird AR, Purpose, The Inside. We mainly examined transmedia experience for users to lead a socially expanded experience. We focused the transmedia narrative and interaction in transmedia story world. Conspiracy for Good is an augmented reality drama game developed by Heroes creator Tim Kling. Conspiracy Good was the pilot project for a first-of-its-kind interactive story that empowers its audience to take real-life action and create positive change in the world. Conspiracy for Good, which was at the same time emphasizing the role of strong storytelling and active on-site participation by players. Conspiracy for Good was designed to offer direct participation in a well-designed storyline. A particularly interesting aspect of Conspiracy for Good concerns the interplay between narrative and gameplay in conjunction with tiered participation. Bluebird AR was the ABC's alternative reality drama set around the League of Bluebird. The events and characters in the Bluebird story were entirely fictional but fused with reality online. Creative director at ABC Innovation Sam Dust described the Dashboard Collective as a wiki. AR online drama was user-centered. There was a lot of reactivity built into Bluebird AR. Clefsource is an immersive web experience set in a real future world after peak oil. Clefsource combines interactivity with animation, fiction, and documentary, inviting the user to embark on a quest to collect information. Clefsource crafts a multitasking and multilinear experience and blended genres like animation, documentary, fiction, and interactivity all together in one story. Presented as a transmedia project, Clefsource is deployed through only two media, TV and web. On the TV, the audience can simply watch the classic documentary Energy Risk. On the project's main website, the players are required to make decisions that leave their mark on a global scale. Inside is described as a social film project. The protagonist engages with the audience via social media. Viewers are encouraged to connect with Christina, tweet clothes, and post advice to her Facebook page. Not only is Inside an exciting social innovation in filmmaking, but the project enables you the ability to have an active voice and play a participating role in the film's outcome. We presented WeShop as a social participation production of a serious AR narrative in South Korea. WeShop is a social participation drama that exchanges opinions to share users' worries and recommend hairstyle and fashion items. We want to know that users' participation affect the production and get high levels of feedback. So we planned 4 steps to interact with users. Then inside story expand outside story to create positive change in the world. WeShop is in the planning stage, so we'll make WeShop demo drama and demo web page. Then we'll test for our model. The goal of our research is to understand participants' transmedia experience and adjust them to the transmedia development model. This model is to create a guideline to produce a transmedia production in transmedia environment. We plan to develop the transmedia production model and complete the systematic model exploring transmedia experience through a serious AR narrative. We'll improve the validation approach and evaluate the transmedia production model method. Thank you for listening my presentation. If you want to ask the question, send me an email below.